This is a free Arduino circuit simulator running in a browser tab. No login, nothing installed. On screen is a real Arduino Uno wired to real parts. And in a moment, we will simulate the circuit and watch live voltages and currents land right on the schematic. Here is exactly what this tool is up front because I want you to trust it. It is a free Arduino circuit simulator for the wiring and the electrical behavior of your circuit, a SPI-style engine that solves the actual volts and amps. What is not is a code emulator that runs your Arduino sketch. We will come back to that line and be very clear about it. But if you want to draw an Arduino circuit and check that it is electrically sound, this does it free in the browser. You can follow along at CircuitDiagramMaker.app/tools/circuitsimulator. First, the honest question you're probably asking, does this tool actually have an Arduino part, or is it going to fake it with a plain box? It has a real one. There's an Arduino Uno symbol in the library, a labeled board block with named pins, 5-volt and 3.3-volt rails, GND, the digital pins, and the analog A pins down the side. So when I say we are simulating an Arduino circuit, there is a genuine Arduino Uno symbol on the canvas, not a rectangle with Arduino typed on it. What is not is a photoreal picture of the board with every header hole. It is a schematic symbol, the pins you wire to labeled. That is exactly what you want in a circuit you're going to simulate. Fair is fair, so I'm telling you that plainly. Here is the editor running in an ordinary browser, nothing installed, and as a guest, no login. Down the left is the symbol library. Search Arduino, and the Uno board is right there, next to resistors, LEDs, buttons, potentiometers, and sensors. Across the top, insert, tools, simulate, export, and share. To place a part, click the symbol, then click the canvas, and it snaps to the grid. Here is the important bit. Every wire you draw between two pins is a real electrical net, not a decorative line. The drawing knows what is connected to what, and that is the whole reason it can simulate. A picture-only tool can draw the same shapes, but it can never solve them. Rather than start from a blank page, let's load a real, finished Arduino circuit straight in the browser. Here it is, an Arduino Uno wired to a sensor on an input pin, with a pull-up resistor holding the line high until the input pulls it low, the exact pattern you use for a button or a digital sensor. You can see the Arduino block, the supply, the signal net into the pin, and ground tying it all together. Real components, real nets, every one of them editable. Look at the wires. They route pin to pin at clean right angles, and the part that saves real time, drag a component and every net connected to it follows. Move the Arduino, move the resistor, rearrange the board, and the schematic stays tidy. The connections are live, so the layout is yours to reshape and the wiring keeps up. Now, before I hit simulate, let me be completely straight about what this simulator does, because Arduino simulator can mean two different things, and I do not want you disappointed. One kind runs your code. You write a sketch, it executes it, an LED blinks in time with your loop. That is what Tinkercad and Wokwi do, and they're great at it. This is the other kind. It is a SPI-style electrical simulator. It solves the physics of the circuit, the voltages at every node, the current in every branch for a given state. So it answers, is my wiring electrically correct, and are my resistor values sane? Not what does my firmware do? If you need to run actual.ino code, reach for a code emulator. If you want to check the circuit itself, the wiring, the divider, the pull-up, the current through an LED, that is exactly this tool's job, and it is free. So let's run it. Open Simulate, and you get 3 analyses: DC operating point, transient, and AC sweep. Pick DC operating point and hit run. Watch the schematic. Live node voltages and branch currents land right on the drawing. Real numbers on the rails at the pins and in the branches computed from the parts you placed. On the sensor line, you can see the voltage the pull-up is holding, and the current is essentially 0 into a high impedance input. Exactly what you would expect on a rail board. This is a sanity check on your wiring. If you tied a pin to the wrong rail, the numbers say so before you ever plug in hardware. A 0 where you expected volts is the fastest fault report in electronics. No meter, no smoke, no guessing. Transient and AC sweep sit in the same dialog when you need a signal over time. Let me show it on something even simpler. So, the numbers are obvious. A plain voltage divider. Open Simulate, DC operating point, run. The top of the divider sits at the full supply, the midpoint drops to a fraction of it, and the return is at 0, and the branch current is right there on the wire. Change a resistor value and rerun, and every number moves with it. That is the whole point of a simulator. You're testing the maths of the circuit, live, before you build anything. Same engine, same 3 analyses, whether it is a lone divider or your full Arduino input stage. Once the wiring checks out, get out of the browser. PNG export is free. Drop the image straight into a report, a forum post, or your build log. On the free plan, it carries a small watermark, and I would rather tell you than have you find out. The vector and engineering formats, SVG, PDF, and DXF for CD, sit on the paid plan. That is the business model, plainly. You can also share a live link, so a classmate or a teammate opens the exact same Arduino circuit in their own browser. No login on their end either. For most hobby and coursework builds, the free PNG is all you actually need. So, who is this free Arduino circuit simulator for? If you want to draw an Arduino circuit and check that it is electrically sound, the wiring, the rails, the resistor values, the currents, this does it free in the browser with a real Arduino Uno symbol and a real Spice engine. No login start. If you specifically need to run your sketch and watch your code execute, use a code emulator like Tinkercad or Wokwi instead. Different tools, different jobs, and now you know exactly which job this one does. Draw the Arduino, wire the pins, simulate the electrics, export. That whole loop just happened in a browser tab. So don't take my word for it. Open the simulator, search Arduino, drop in the Uno, wire an LED to a pin through a resistor, and hit simulate. If it hasn't given you a clean, electrically checked Arduino circuit faster than any install first tool within 10 minutes, you have lost nothing. It was free. It is at CircuitDiagramMaker.app/tools/circuitsimulator. No login, no install. The link is in the description. Subscribe for a new circuits and simulation video every week. See you in the next one.